All right, Johnny P. Thanks for throwing this together so quick. This is so cool. I just wanted to take a second to say my thoughts on a video instead of writing it all out because it's kind of difficult to explain. But I definitely see promise here. So uh, this is really interesting. So these obviously are two different blocks on both eyes, and I think that one thing to keep in mind is that I think the focal point needs to be a little bit smaller. I think the large amount of things, my one eye just wants to override and see one or the other, not both. But if I can just have two focal points, like these two blocks, like I know in my mind they're both there, and I can see both of them, which means that I'm using both my eyes, that's awesome. That right there is 100% what needs to happen is me seeing both these blocks as if they're both there instead of seeing one or the other. So and I picked two different size blocks too because when I use the same size block, tended to see just one because my mind would think that there's just one block there because it was kind of the same size and the same color. So I definitely think variance in size and color would be very helpful. So I got to figure out. Okay, so obviously this one's on my left eye or on my right eye, and this one's on my left eye, and I'm seeing both. So I could switch sides. So actually, something like so that makes it a little bit more difficult because well, it shouldn't. Well, yeah, it does because my lazy eye is my right eye. So putting this one being on my right eye is making it a little bit harder to see, which makes this more challenging, which is good because I'm still seeing both of them. So the one thing that I was trying to test out is just kind of like walking around. I think this is a good um, test is putting these two in the center and actually being able to see both of them while walking around them. So as I get to this point, kind of in front of them, I start to lose it a little bit, but then it clicks back in that they're both there and that I need to see both of them. So this is good. As I'm walking around, I see both of them and I can keep doing this. And I feel like even this right here, just doing this, walking around these two blocks and making sure that I'm seeing both at all times is a great exercise in itself. Although obviously not fun, but I mean, I see both, so that's awesome. Um, so even thinking of something like this, I was trying to think of other ideas for games, and I think that having the two the definitely doing the showing both objects or showing one object and one object in the other, I think is better than the blurring. I can see results or see that my eyes are actually working together now to see both of these objects, so I know it's working. But maybe even something along the lines of like a rhythm game where something's in focus in front of you like this at all times, and maybe you have to be able to see both blocks to be able to do the rhythm or both lines. Like something's coming at you, but I don't think it can come very fast because you have to be able to pick it up. Definitely different colors and maybe pushing buttons on the controller to or even punching like a rhythm game might work well. I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of something where both objects are always like in the center of your focus and it's not a lot uh, going on at the same time. And I think that would be a very good example of a game because doing this, just even just walking around and looking at these up here and just kind of knowing that I'm seeing both, so something's happening, but kind of putting them far away from each other or having too much going on at one time, I'm not. I lose track of what's happening. Like both eyes, I have to know that both objects are there in my mind for both my eyes to work together and see both of them. If that makes sense. So holding them and visually kind of knowing that they're both there, it makes my mind say, okay, you want to see both, then and you know both are there, but obviously I can only see both if I'm using both my eyes. So that's what I got out of this, but I think this is awesome so far. It's definitely a great test. So thanks for throwing this together.